Bruce, actually being genuine and concerned, "Why are you still single?" Jason, offended, "I know you did not just say that, Jason. You? Of all people?" Jason, "Being Gotham's most eligible bachelor for 30 years straight isn't a compliment." Jason, "The public only votes for you because they have daddy issues and they like silver foxes." Jason, "But you're not even a silver fox anymore. You're an Arctic fox, Jason. No one's is lining up for your wrinkly ass." Jason, "God forbid they find out you're a furry too." Like damn Bruce, Talia al Ghul, watching them from the window, covered in blood after taking over the LOA so that she, Bruce, and Damian can ride off to the sunset together. Selena Kyle next to her, holding Grace Kelly's $38.8 million Cartier ring as an engagement ring to Bruce. Harvey Dent, in therapy for Bruce. Superman, rearranging the stars to make a Batman-Bruce constellation. Wonder Woman, picking out wedding dresses for Bruce. Hal Jordan. What? Hal Jordan, "I'm not in love with Mr. Dark," and brooding. Hal Jordan, screeching at the other Green Lanterns to stay away from Gotham because Bruce didn't want anyone messing with it. Ra's and Joker, dead. Still pining, but mostly dead. Keeping on the massive crush. Bruce, I have this headcanon for all of the Bat fam. Talking how Dick just giggles and twirls his hair when Wally is talking about the stupidest thing and laugh about anything the speedster says. Talking how Jason tries his best to not blush at any flirty pass that Roy does, and later in his safe house just swoons and giggles and kicks his feet because Roy called him pretty bird and does the same thing he did to be called that again the next time. Talking Tim dreamily agreeing to anything Khan says and doing the classic laying his hand the bicep when laughing and calling him funny, although the joke was dry as fuck. Talking how Damian is just like Bruce, stoic and serious on the outside, scolding John like usual, but on the inside he's just a confused teenager because OMG John looked extra cute and his guilty face was so adorable. I like to see the super family be all gone for the Bats, but I absolutely love when the roles are reversed.
Got reminded again of my old coworker who was a massive misogynist but also trans-inclusive. Told me he believed trans women are indeed women because only women would be stupid enough to want to be women. I wonder what he's doing now. He also aggressively corrected himself whenever he accidentally misgendered a trans guy we knew because there's already more women than men in the world, the more numbers we steal from them, the better. Did that even when the trans guy wasn't around. I need to point out that he was completely serious, BTW. This man had no sense of humor on purpose. He was a cook at the restaurant/bar I was a bartender at and almost punched a customer once because he overheard him talking about how women belong in the kitchen. Told me he thought women should stay out of kitchens, that cooking is a man's job, and when I asked him what he thinks women should be doing, he went quiet for a moment, then proceeded to explain to me the following. I trust a bitch to run a kitchen as much as she can run a country. They should do shit like plumbing. Or electricity. Something you can just learn to do and don't need to lead, you know? Apparently, women are good at fixing shit. He claimed that he doesn't trust male plumbers or electricians except if they're gay because something must be wrong with you if you want to go fix other people's houses, that's that maternal instinct.
I learned today that apparently kissing is a known method to expose people to a new gut microbiome. I have taken this newfound knowledge and applied it to Superbat, for obvious reasons. 1. Bruce studies his own microbiome routinely, largely because of space travel and pathogen exposure in Gotham. 2. After dating Clark for an extended period, he notices a change in said test results. 3. Kryptonian microorganisms make their way into his gut microbiome. 4. Okay, I've thought about it some more and, angsty ideas aside, what if it was a good thing? What if being exposed to Kryptonian microorganisms made Bruce healthier or more resilient? What if he was just a little faster, healed better, and nobody really noticed until he did a precautionary test? The idea of someone else's microorganisms changing you can get super freaky super fast, but maybe it's a net benefit to Bruce. Maybe he sees cellular aging slow down, or increased resistance to space-related physical impacts. Maybe the concerns are worth the benefits. And once Clark finds out that kissing him, having sex with him, is actually protective, he's not going to let Bruce try and bow out of this relationship out of Exposure concerns. Nah, he's going to kiss his boyfriend before every mission. Lois Lane lifting several boxes full of heavy metals on her way out the office to do a report on Luther's connection to a giant robot attacking the mayor. Fine, normal. Nobody questions how she can lift all that. It's Lois Lane. Bruce Wayne, adding extra weights to his already insane workout routine. Every Bat kid in the building calls bullshit, and even Alfred gives him the side eye. He is knocked out, strapped to a medical bed, and given an MRI, a CAT scan, and a BAT scan, which is like a CAT scan but more invasive and checks for things like evidence of cloning or alien tissue. Jason Todd doesn't remember what his soul was doing during the year he was dead. And considering every magical being he meets calls him the Ghost King's concubine, he isn't sure he wants to. I like imagining that these magical creatures, after getting over meeting the Ghost King's concubine, are all telling him to contact the king because he's been depressed TM since Jason left. They're like, sorry to intrude on your couple's spat, but call her boyfriend, he's been crying ever since you left, leaving Jason confused as hell. Jason gets in contact with John Constantine and they summon the Ghost King. Danny just fucking tackles Jason after being summoned, leaving the two in a weird amnesia relationship, Danny filling in the gaps while Jason falls in love again. Batman being mentally prepared to fight the old man who took advantage of his kid when he finds out about this. Only to find out Danny is younger than Jason and also a dead child. Bruce tries to break them up so he can adopt Danny. It doesn't work, and Batman later finds out that the undead have started referring to him as Fruit Loop.
Jason finds out what Bruce really thinks of him when Poison Ivy's latest batch of pollen compels its victims to blurt out the first thing that comes to mind. No, Dick, not quite truth serum. More like spewing whatever's on my mind right now serum. Bruce has just finished sharing the fact that he's never tried hot Cheetos yet desperately wants to, despite the shit Alfred would give him and the heartburn it would probably cause. He's clicking and clacking away at the Bat computer, trying to synthesize an antidote before he admits something more embarrassing than the time he made out with Oliver Queen in a broom closet at boarding school. That's when Jason has a bright idea that he'll regret later. What do you really think of me? The response is instantaneous, given with no hesitation. Baby. You're my baby. Jason glares at the older man. He's found a way around the pollen. Miserable fucking Dick, Jason snaps. What do you think of Dick? Acrobat baby. Tim. Sleepy genius baby. Damien. Youngest baby. Duke. Sunshine baby? This is getting him nowhere. Time to think outside the box. The clone boy, Jason growls. Con or whatever. Bruce levels a flat look at his son. Superman's baby. The little speedster fucker Tim hangs out with. Fast baby. Me. Bruce smiles warmly at him, and Jason curses internally when he sees none of the tells that usually indicate lies. Bookworm baby, Jason curses again. This isn't going how he thought it would, and now Bruce is looking at him the same way he does when Damien actually acts his age and falls asleep on the couch, face innocent and adorable. Fuck you, I'm not a baby, he grumbles. He could kick himself for not thinking of a cutting remark or a venomous barb, but Bruce is just staring like he wants nothing more than to wrap him up in his old Wonder Woman jammies and read him a bedtime story. Is this pollen making the old man sappy? Ugh. Move over, Jason barks. He pushes Bruce out of the stationary chair in front of the Bat computer. Might as well help you with the damn antidote.
Duke Pavlov's everyone. He wants to help out. He wants to give back. But what can he do? He can't teach anything to them that they don't already know. Heck, every time he tries offering help, by the time they finish saying what he could do, the problem ends up being solved anyways. However, not anymore. He's trying to listen and not speak, observe, as is the detective way. And as the recent and relatively normal addition to the Bat fam, he comes to a startling conclusion. None of them eat. And by that, Duke doesn't mean that they go without food because they survive without it. He means that they genuinely forget to eat for long periods of time due to stress, long hours, or other factors, and since vigilating has been more or less their whole lives, They've forgotten what hunger even feels like, unless they're actively reminded of it. So, every time Duke comes over, he mentions that he's starving. Then he goes into great length to describe just how hungry it is and what he's craving. 10 times out of 10, everyone's stomachs start rumbling before the entire family stares at the fridge in hunger. And little by little, he starts making sure they associate yellow with him and him with hunger. Every time he visits, he makes sure to always wear or bring something yellow with him. Rubber ducky, highlighter, you name it. He even leaves little trinkets around the house, insisting it's to give a splash of color. And it fucking works. The whole family is on a stakeout, Batman and Red Robin updating everyone in how it's going when suddenly there's a pause. Nightwing. Guys? Hello? Red Robin. Spoiler? Hello? Did your brain short circuit? Red Robin. Soft mumbling. Robin. Father, could you compensate for Drake's incompetence again? Batman. The gang is wearing yellow. Robin. Nightwing. Batman. Spoiler. Red. Robin. Stomach grumbling noises echoing over comms. Spoiler. All right, I think we've seen enough. Move in? Nightwing. Yes, please, before I start eating my batons. Batman. I've bought a restaurant. We can eat there later. Move in on 3. Red Robin. Why the fuck do I suddenly want to eat the sandwich someone just threw in the bin? Red Hood. Jesus fucking Christ, you better not, you fucking unhygienic bastard. Later. At the mansion. Damien. Duke. Damien. Duke. You need something. Damien. You did this to us. Duke. Listen, in my defense, I didn't think anyone was stupid enough to wear yellow if they're trying to commit crime at night.
I need more hero worship between Tim and Jason. Tim thinking that Jason's entire deal is just so fucking cool. Like he was Robin. He died, came back to life, got dunked in the Lazarus pit, and learned to control the pit rage, got magic swords, and is now a scary-ass legendary crime lord that runs Crime Alley and protects all of its people while consistently pissing Bruce off every night. Tim thinks Jason is awesome, and he cannot believe that he gets to hang out with him. Jason, on the other hand, has no idea Tim thinks he's cool. Jason considers himself to be a violent nerd, the dumber section of his and Dick's Dumb and Dumber childhood duo. He's an introverted asshole who actively beat this kid up once. Not to mention his only other experience with little brothers is fucking Damien, who, although the kid clearly loves and respects him in his own weird little way, would rather chew off his own hand than admit anything about Jason was in any way cool. The idea that Tim would look up to him? Laughable. He has no idea why this kid keeps trying to follow him on patrol or come up with excuses to hang out together. And honestly, the starry eyes he keeps getting from time to time kind of scare him. Like, what does that mean? Why does he do that? Dick finds it fucking hysterical. He knows Jason is Tim's personal hero, and even better, he knows full well that Jason would literally never even consider Tim respecting him as a possibility. He watches Tim eagerly ask every Bat family meeting if Jason's gonna come. And when Jason arrives, jump around him during debriefs like a puppy trying to convince an old dog to come play, and Jason has always just stood there with the most fucking confused look on his face. Eventually, he can't take it and has to pull Jason aside. Dick, he just looks up to you, man. Give him a little attention. Jason looks up to me? Dick. Yeah, you're his hero. Jason, 2 weeks ago, I was drinking tea through a gap in the mouth section of the helmet, and I watched you smack into a lamppost, and I laughed so hard that I snorted the tea out my nostrils and into the rest of the helmet and almost drowned myself. Dick. Jason. He was there for that, Dick. He saw it. And you think he considers me a hero? Dick. Look, I don't understand it. Either just let him tag along. Okay. The Bat Kids doing that suspect TikTok trend where they take turns filming each other running and say increasingly personal and deranged shit to make each other laugh. Spoiler, recording Red Robin. In a confused voice. Suspect listens to Green Day and Enya, like my guy Pick a Struggle Nightwing recording Red Hood. Suspect died once and made it his entire personality. Red Hood, recording Robin. Suspect has a superiority complex that is way too big for someone his size. Robin, recording Nightwing. Suspect has been engaged at least twice and married, never read Robin. Recording. Spoiler, suspect thinks assaulting people with bricks is a legitimate flirting strategy. Spoiler, it worked on you. Signal, who came out at night solely for this, recording Red Robin. Suspect can't come up with an original name and keeps stealing everyone else's Red Hood, recording Nightwing. Suspect is actually a huge asshole, but hides it behind that cheerful demeanor so everyone thinks I'm lying about it, Robin, recording Red Hood. I'm going to let the suspect keep running because he needs the exercise signal, recording Red Hood. Suspect acts tough, but has read every Jane Austen novel at least 6 times.
Submitted prompts. Number 5. After Danny became the Ghost King, the entire magic community learned that the king was available for summons again. Slight issue. Danny is different from the previous king. His summoning circle has completely different requirements that everyone is rushing to figure out for their own purpose. The circle's got to be drawn in ketchup from one very specific burger joint. And the chant is entirely in Pig Latin. The sacrifice is a smoothie or milkshake flavor that the king has never had before. No repeats. It's always got to be a new one. Also, no one tells you this, but unless you give him a very specific send-off ritual, he's free to hang around however long he likes, and there is absolutely nothing you can do about it. You summoned the king? Great. Now figure out how to unsummon him, or you just go a new roommate. So for sacrifices, you have to offer a moon rock, a smoothie from a fast food restaurant, tickets to a Humpty Dumpty concert, and an autograph from Carl Sagan, said Constantine. At least this one doesn't require us to kill anything. We have all that? Yes, but that's not the problem. It's the circle, said Zatanna. What's wrong with it? The circle must be made of glass tubing containing liquid sucrose at 99.99% purity or greater at 200 degrees Celsius. Not only does the new king not want to be summoned, he's also a nerd. That's a new one. Danny could only let out a loud, annoyed groan as he heard the clacking of footsteps in the corridor. Beside him, he could hear his advisor CW snort, amused by what was to come alongside Danny's pain and annoyance. The only way for his floor to even be making a sound was if he was being graced with a human. It wasn't often that his realm received living visitors, but the ones that usually did enter and that had managed to survive the walk to his domain always had wishes to ask of him, and they were always human, never anything interesting or new. Which was annoying since humans were usually extremely demanding, as well as stubborn in their beliefs. He would know. He is one on his days off. They also usually had the same kind of wish, a wish that they always were so stubborn to believe will work because they had the strength to make it through the underground to ask for it, a wish that also had genuinely never worked. Not even once since it started. Damn you, Hades, for granting the first request to begin with the one time he was on vacation, the wish to revive a dead loved one and to make it back together to the living. Most times, Danny would just grant the request without another thought beyond it being under the same rules as the first time, but this idea continuing through the decades was just getting annoying. The subtle knocking on the throne room door made him sigh again as he waved his hand to allow entry. "Look," Danny drawled, pinching his nose and not looking up at the visitor who was now in the room facing him. "If you're about to go on some rant about how you walked all this way, I really don't care. Just take whatever loved one you came for and walk away." Whoever had come didn't even respond beyond a shakily taken gasp, and that's when Danny finally ended up looking towards them. The man in front of him was really cute. He looked up at Danny, wide-eyed, blue eyes filled with some mix of wonder and curiosity. Whatever hero getup he was wearing looked ripped and torn to shreds, but somehow the man was missing any and all cuts and bruises that should have been there. If Danny was being honest, the guy reminded him of one of those wet cats who looked betrayed after being forced into taking a bath. Eventually, after a long moment of staring at each other, the guy spoke. Actually..." The man had the audacity to look bashfully towards the throne room floor before returning his gaze to Danny and continuing. I kind of came here to see if I could walk you out of the underworld. Huh. That's a new one. Or basically, Danny is extremely used to people mistakenly entering his realm to pull a Eurydice and Orpheus trick. Hades made an exception one time during his temporary reign. He just wasn't expecting someone to come with the intention to get him out of the underworld. I love Danny as a cryptid energy. Like at first he's just vibing over Gotham like a big jellyfish full of stars, essentially filter feeding on the corrupted ectoplasm. The Bat Fam are completely at a loss of what to do. He's not hurting anyone, and he's kinda pretty. They just have a giant, translucent space whale chilling in the sky. Red Hood, the first to make contact, standing on a roof, waving to him. Hey, can we talk? He shouts at the blob. Danny comes down and sheds his massive form, turning into a king with too many of just everything, and then just a teenager? He tilts his head looking at Hood. Eyes containing multitudes look odd on a kid wearing a galaxy print hoodie and jeans. Are those jeggings? He shakes his head, and when he opens his eyes again, they are normal human blue. Yeah, he says. You look like you might need some help. Says Hood. Do you want a cookie? I'm not sure what a good sacrifice is, but Zatanna says things valuable to the caster are usually more powerful, and these are the best. My grandpa makes them. Sure, says the kid, taking a bite of one. Man, these are good. So I suppose you want to know what's going on with your ecto situation. Ecto? Yeah, like the green stuff. The pits? Pit rage? Pits? Is that what the puddles were? The guys around there were not happy when I ate those. You ate the Lazarus pits? Yeah, kinda tasted like the blue cotton candy. Ecto with lots of negative emotions and magic tend to taste kinda like blue raspberry. That's a lot to process. Are you going to eat the pits? Ecto in me? I can, but it's what's holding you together. So that would kill you and send your soul to eternal rest. Sounds bad. It's not, but that's not your only option. Obviously, I can leave you as you are. I'm guessing you get outbursts where the negative emotions take over. Pit rage, yeah. So there's that. Or I can replace the bad ecto with good that would make you a half like me, half human, half ghost. Pros include some superpowers, at minimum flight, invisibility and intangibility, eternal life, and access to the infinite realms. Cons include an awkward adjustment phase, difficulty controlling your emotions, and you would be locked out of your eternity of choice. Once you're a ghost forever. That's a lot to consider. Yeppers. Can I take a bit to consider? Absolutely. My name is Danny Phantom. If you yell that out, I should be able to hear you from anywhere in the multiverse. I'm going to be here for a couple of years your time anyway, cleaning up your ectosphere. Looks like the entire universe's bad ecto all coagulates over this city, so I'll just be floating around. Feel free to tell whatever authority you want that they can ask to talk to me. I won't stop, and none of you can make me, but I can explain what I'm doing, and it's good for the universe as a whole. Okay, thanks. Do you want another cookie for the road? Sure, have a good one, dude. You too? Jason had a lot to think about.
Jason should kill the Joker and just not tell anyone. Let's be real here. If he were to silently slip in and kill the Joker in his sleep, are any of the workers at Arkham really going to give enough of a shit to say anything? With the paperwork they'd have to do and the attention they'd get once the media caught wind of the break-in murder, I bet all Jason would have to do is leave a basket of muffins next to the dead body as a thank you, and the staff would just dispose of the body and shut the fuck up about it. I bet you he could get through a solid 6 to 8 month period of being weirdly happy and interactive with the rest of the family before Dick finally asks why he's been in such a good mood lately over family dinner. Jason casually, I don't know, I guess I've just had a weight lifted from my shoulders. There's less to drive me away now. Bruce, thinking he's finally done something right. Aw, J-Lad, I'm so happy you're feeling more comfortable. Dick, the only Bat Kid around when Jason was Robin, remembering all the times Jason would transform into the happiest kid on the planet, only for them to find out, a week later, it was because he'd pushed a bully down the stairs at school and fractured his wrist. Hold on, B-Dick. Jay, what weight has been lifted? Jason, still nonplussed. Well, I finally got my GED, and the Joker thing really calmed the Lazarus rage. Also, Steph got me into puppy yoga. We go once a week. Bruce, what Joker thing? Jason glancing up from his food. Did I not mention that? He's dead, man. Bruce, Dick, sorry, what? Tim, why the fuck am I never invited to puppy yoga? Bruce, having a panic attack. What are you talking about, Jay? Tim, I would love to go to puppy yoga. What the fuck? Jason, shrugging. You can come to puppy yoga. Replacement. It's all good. Bruce, the Joker's dead? Tim, fuck yeah, puppy yoga. Jason, I think they do it with goats too. Damien, I would be interested in this activity. Jason, hell yeah, family yoga session. Bruce, Jason, please expand on the Joker thing. Jason, no, I don't like your tone. Anyway, Dick, puppy yoga? Dick glancing at Bruce's glare nervously. I would be down for puppy yoga.